Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here, got another Master Duel video for you. Wanted to show you some more Memento games from the WCQ World Championship Qualifiers 2025. I've been having a ton of fun playing this deck, and I got a lot of really good going second games, so those are the replays that we're going to be covering today. All going second games, losing coin flips, winning anyway. Our first opponent here is going to be on Blue Eyes, as you can see. We're going to fire off the Imperm against the Sage there. Pretty good going second hand here, although this also would have been a very good going first hand as well. For those who are unaware, the Goblin Biker Grand Entrance is actually, or Grand Breakout, I always mix those names up, is actually a starter to a combo line in and of itself. It's not quite full combo, but you can end on Combined King and Combined Creation, if nothing else. I was actually going to start off by showing a going first game where we do that combo line, but ultimately decided that I had, again, enough good going second footage here to really demonstrate just how much this deck can push through and play against while still taking the W. Now, again, with this particular game, we got an excellent going second hand. Nibiru, in particular, is really, really good against Blue Eyes, of course, because even if my opponent had gotten to go full combo and ended on double Spirit Dragon, Nib still would have been able to crush that board. Top deck, Memento and Darkblade is excellent here as well. It means we don't have to go Grand Entrance on Nib to go full combo, but we still could have OTK'd even if we didn't top deck Darkblade here. It, of course, would have involved using the Grand Entrance Summon Goblin, which we did here anyway to get the Nibiru off the field, but yeah, Magnum Hut on Gaddock is pretty annoying here, but not the end of the world at all. We can absolutely still full combo here. So a lot of the ways that we're going to end up winning these duels is through Memento kind of has a really nice little built-in OTK mechanic that I'll point out here once the relevant monster is summoned, but it's a kind of secret effect. I imagine a lot of players aren't immediately aware of it if they don't play Memento themselves, or play against the deck a lot, right? But let's see. So we're gonna use the Combined King, or the Creation King rather, graveyard effect for the field spell. Mementolan Fusion F pops the Goblin to add Bone Party, and this will revive Mementolan Akiran. And this card has an on-summon effect. When this card is normal or special summoned, for this turn, level 9 or higher Memento monsters can attack directly. The Creation King is level 9, Combined Creation is level 11, and their attack points coincidentally just happen to add up to exactly 8,000, meaning that, as mentioned, it is ridiculously easy for this deck to actually OTK the opponent. The funny thing is, in most scenarios, you actually don't even really need to resolve the Akiran effect. Like, this deck has enough resources available to it that it could easily still clear bodies while still putting out enough damage, right, in order to win. However, I feel like the designers kind of acknowledge that, like, all right, these Memento combos already take forever. Let's just give them an easy way to end the game. So, but I mean, here we still have the Horned Dragon we could have summoned. We could have been more efficient about our bodies. We could have made use of Super Poly, Combined Creation, Destroy effect. Again, I don't think that we necessarily needed the Akiran summon effect in order to actually win here. But again, it does end up making a really, really good way of doing so easily. The other thing I've noticed about playing Memento a lot is that a lot of hands that look like they would be bad are actually completely fine. And this is a prime example of that. So, in my experience learning Memento, right, I had a bit of a challenge, and I don't think I'm the only one, because a lot of people agree that this deck is fairly difficult. I don't think it's actually as difficult as something like Ritual Beast or Branded, but that's also just my own opinion. But the thing about Memento that really made it a lot easier for me to learn is, well, so the way that I learn decks personally is I always start with the one-card combo lines, just build out from there. Both build out the deck and also my understanding of how the deck plays out. And I think that's how a lot of people tend to do it. But with Memento, it's weird because it actually behooves you to learn each card's individual role, and that is what will help you play the deck better than actually knowing what the one-card combo lines are, which is a lot more difficult to learn. For me, anyway. And I think for a lot of people, too. You know, it's easier to start with the combo line and then learn from there. But So you see a hand like this, which doesn't have Darkblade, which doesn't have Eng, which doesn't have Tatsuno Toshigo, which are all of the standard kind of one-card starters, and it's really easy to kind of panic here. Granted, we do have both extenders, we have both Bone Party and Fusion here, but even if we didn't, even if we just had the Goblin, that's actually enough to combo. As mentioned before, Grand Entrance into Goblin, the way that you would do that is that you would Grand Entrance the... Well, you would Grand Entrance for the Goblin effect to destroy itself, and then send Gaddock and Fusion, or you could send Gaddock and Bone Party. Either way, really, because you could Bone Party for the Darkblade and can combo from there. You could Gaddock for the Fusion for Twin Dragon and combo. That's the thing, right? Even your, like, kind of subpar combo line, so to speak, has multiple routes through it that are both, like, equally viable. Which is, I think, another thing that tends to make people a little bit intimidated when they think about playing Memento, is this idea that, like, you know, pretty much every hand has multiple routes you can take, and they all lead to about the same place. So it's one of those decks that's a little bit difficult to optimize sometimes, and of course I'm certainly still learning here, but yeah, I think that it's very, very fun. It's very, very fun to sit here and learn it too. Alright, so here we can go for the Gaddock. We got to still dump stuff off the Tatsuno effect because, of course, we were able to sub it out for the Horn Dragon. It's too bad we didn't have a Memento card on the field as well, because then we could have actually used the Horn Dragon effect to pop their Lars and their equipped Ognum Day. Yeah, the Rex turn with the Ognum Day would normally be very annoying, but... Again, we can just attack directly, so we don't have to worry about it. But again, if I had to worry about it, if I had to deal with it, I think we could have here. I don't know if this one would have been an OTK on top of that, but we absolutely could have outed our opponent's board here without needing to attack directly. It's, again, just a very nice little shortcut for the deck, in my experience. Another nice thing about Memento when it comes to playing through stuff that I didn't quite get to demonstrate here, but I did get to demonstrate during our latest stream, one of our latest streams, is the fact that this deck can play through Droll. Your end board is going to be a little bit weaker. Most of the time you won't be able to search the fusions, or the field spell rather, which is fairly annoying. And you also won't be able to search Bone Party off of the fusion spell graveyard effect, which means you'll also miss the Akiran trigger to add back the fusion that's banished to your hand. So you do miss out on a couple of pieces of your board, but you can still build out Elf plus IP plus Creation King plus Combined Creation under Droll, which is, you know, the bulk of your end board, right? So in the future, I might try to include more copies of Droll and Lockbird in my deck. I have the one here, I had it mostly as a cross-out target, but it's really not that neat as a cross-out target. Or I could even, in theory, take out the Droll and put in a different hand trap that would be a good cross-out target. The thing with that is, though, one of this deck's major weaknesses is Maxi. So I think that more Drolls would benefit as a result of that. Yeah, I would say Maxi and Nibiru are your biggest threats as a Memento player. Even Fualos is not nearly as bad as Maxi. You could definitely get away with a lot under Fualos with this deck. I actually want to kind of experiment with that at some point. Just playing under a Fualos and doing full combo and seeing how many draws it gives my opponent. So here we're playing against Flu, which is like one of my least favorite decks to play against. I hate the combination of M-Pen and the Dreaming Town, and here, of course, they also have the Apex Avian. They just searched that recently off the Eaglin there, so not ideal. It's also not ideal that we were not able to target the trap card with the Darkblade and force it. I mean, I guess to be fair, they would have just chained it anyway. In theory, maybe it was better that we hit the cross-out designator, but... Alright, so here they're going to go for the Eaglin and Rabina effects. They're definitely, of course, going to try to tribute summon out their Apex Avian and then use the Dreaming Town Graveyard effect to turn all my stuff face down. Even if they did that here, though, I'd still be able to fuse with either Sleepy or the Memento Fusion, because you can fuse with face down monsters, so... that actually wouldn't even be really that awful here, but we still get to stop this line anyway, because when the Stree goes to activate, I'm going to use them in Memento Fusion and dodge by using the Darkblade as a fusion material. And the thing about Floowandereeze and Stree is that it's a banish, then you get the extra normal, meaning my opponent doesn't get Apex Avian, and also the Dreaming Town Graveyard effect only activates when they tribute summon. So now I don't have to worry about that anymore either, which is a huge relief. And my opponent's board is looking much more manageable. Now, of course, there is still the M-Pen to consider. It'll negate the effects of all special summoned monsters in attack position. That's why I'm summoning everything in defense mode. However, we're going to do a different OTK line here, and that's going to be simply to use the combined creation by itself, because our opponent has far more than enough monsters for us to be able to push through and battle over. The thing is, combined creation can only attack each of my opponent's monsters if it's the only thing on the field. So in order to clear up my field, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to link off as many things as possible into this IP here, and then I can summon out the combined creation from the graveyard. Move to battle phase. I'm going to ram IP into the M-Pen to get it off the field. Then in battle phase, I can use the quick effect of Creation King to pop the M-Pen and itself. Now combined creation is the only thing in play. It can attack each of my opponent's small birds, and that's going to be enough to secure the W. I got to give a shout out to chat. That was a game that I played live, and chat, I think in particular Toadette, pointed out that the reason I didn't have to worry about Dreaming Town, because I was still kind of trying to play around it, but then Toadette pointed out that it has to be a tribute summon to proc the Dreaming Town, and I was like, oh, you're right, that's a good call. So it made me a lot more free in what I was able to play through there. So, alright, last duel before I show off the deck list here. This one's going to be against Branded, and this is another deck I really don't like going second against. They get the Rindbrum, and then Saronir, going to go for Carteezy, which will then get to activate here to fuse for the Grangadol using the Saronir. Alright, Grangadol, let's see, that's going to end up dumping... Well, they got to dump with the Grangadol and with Saronir here. Alright, Saronir is going to dump Lubellion, and then Grangadol is going to dump the not Dogmatica. What is that card called? Titaniclad. It's the one that summons a Dogmatica, yeah, so it's going to get Quem dump Albion, and then they pass over to me. Yeah, I know hand traps in this hand was a little bit rough, but this is one of those decks where if you don't open hand traps, you just open a lot of engine, and there are some decks where you would rather just have the hand traps. This is a deck, though, where a lot of the time you would just rather have the engine, and this is kind of one of those hands. We got all three extenders in Bone Party, Fusion, and Grand Breakout here, as well as Sleepy, which is also a great extender, and Horn Dragon, which is a solid extender. It's really not necessary, but here I'm just going to use it as a fusion material in order to make the Twin Dragon. I did get a little lucky here that my opponent fired off like every single one of their negates right off the bat. Also nice that my opponent's going to use Quim for Albaz here. I guess they weren't aware that my Twin Dragon was going to pop itself, so the Albaz doesn't have anything to fuse with. And it's not even like I did that to dodge the Albaz. That was just the right play regardless, but yeah, I think this might have been more difficult if my opponent... Well, it definitely would have been more difficult if my opponent played a little bit more optimally, but I also think, like, we still haven't used Sleepy or Grand Breakout yet, so I think we still would have been fine. Bestial on the Gaddock is always really annoying. Gaddock is, like, kind of low-key the best Memento monster. It makes a lot of things possible that you might not necessarily realize until you play this deck a lot, but it's really good. I've considered a second Gaddock before. It's really annoying when it gets banished. It's not impossible, though, to play through, because if any of your Memento cards get banished and you really need them back, you can always use the Akiran Destroy effect in order to get them back, but this is another game we're going to close it out with the solo combined creation. This time we're going to make use of the Bone Party Graveyard effect to give my combined creation Piercing. Meaning I can attack the 0 defense mode Albaz for 5k damage, and then just run over Quem for lethal. And there we have it. Our last going second game here. Our last game for this video. Here's the deck list. It's the same one from my previous video, so if you already saw that video or you saw me stream, then you've already seen this list, but I do kind of want to switch it up a little bit and maybe try out some new stuff. Speaking of the streams, if you're interested in catching any of this gameplay live, which I do fairly often, usually on the weekends, you can catch me either here on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to get notifications, or you can head over to twitch.tv/hexlexlive, follow and or sub over there to get notifications when I stream as well. If you miss the streams but still want to see the VODs as well as all of the content here on YouTube early, make sure to join on YouTube here as a member, as you will get access to all of that content early. VODs and, of course, the videos do go public eventually, but if you remember, you get to see them the instant that they are uploaded. So yeah, I think that's pretty much going to end up wrapping this one up. Have a ton of fun with Memento. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more from this deck. But for now, I think that's going to just about do it. So let's go ahead and move on to our outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which by the way is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.